Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another tutorial. So let's add more features to this website we created. Now, links in the description to the original videos that started this project. Go ahead and download the source code as well. Link is in the description. All right, so what we want to do is add comments to this part here. So when we click on a photo, we can have comments down here. Now, I did notice something that if you log out and try to go to the home page, you don't see any posts. Neither will you see any posts on the photos page here because there's an error, I'm guessing, in that file. Oh, it's actually like.php online 26. Okay, so let's see this error. It says fatal error, unquote type error. Okay, so argument user ID must be of type int, but a string was given. Okay, so this is an issue where we're expecting an integer, but a string was given instead. So the reason for this is simple. Let's go back to our function. So our project, sorry. So if I go inside models and look at the like.php, now the reason we're having this issue is because we specified here that the value we expect here should be an integer, right? Now, sometimes if you expect to be a string as well, at certain times, you can put a pipe there and say string like that. That way you say it can either be an integer or a string, both are fine. And if I now refresh, it should work, right? This is user liked. So this one is get likes, and there's user liked. This is the one that has a problem. So let's do string like that. Now, instead of doing this, it would be good to know why it's receiving a string and not an integer. And in this case, we do know. That's because when a user is not logged in, we don't get, we won't have a user ID. We may have a string instead. Where is that? Let's go to where we used the user like. So I'm going to remove what I have done just now, so I get the error again. So I'm just going to do a stack trace. I want to see if I move back, where was this thing called from? So photos.view .php online 8. I think that's the one we should look at. So if I go to the views photos online 8, which is right here, where is this core here? I think it's not on this one. It should be on the includes photo card, where there is user liked right there. That's the one. And then we grab user and ID. So this is the problem here. When there's nothing, it returns a string over here. So I think that was meant to remove errors. So if you want, you can remove the type hinting like that altogether, and that will solve the problem as well. But that's a loosely typed language there, or loosely typed code. So let's just put or string like so. And on the post ID, we do expect a post ID, so let's remove that, and this will solve the problem. Okay, so we are good at this point. Now, what if I click like and I'm not logged in? So let's try that. So if I click here, what do I get? Let me refresh. I don't get anything. Nothing happens there, which is awesome. Let's go to the console. Let's see if we get any errors. And we do get some errors. It says JSON parse. So we shouldn't allow errors like this. We should instead program for errors like that. So let's go to the public folder, go to assets. I'm looking for the JS file. So that's the like.js. And it's telling me that the JSON returned data, it says json.parse unexpected character. What that means is that they returned JSON data here. This is where the error is not good. So what we can do instead is to do a console.log to see exactly what's happening inside, what kind of information was brought back that is not valid JSON because it failed here. So let's refresh and let me click that again. So it tells me JSON parse. Okay, that. Now this is one thing I had mentioned earlier, like the reason I don't actually put my JavaScript in separate files during tutorials is this problem right here. So this file was cached. So even though I have changed my code here, I don't see it reflect here because even when I click, it still doesn't show me the console.log. So what I need to do is force the browser to refresh or to get a new copy of this file. So we can do that by going to our photos view page where it's included. We'll put a question mark and just put some random number. So it's good to keep track of the number. I'll just put V1 like that, so that next time it happens I can put V2 instead. So if I now refresh and click, you see now it shows me exactly what it has returned. So it says please log in to like. So it shouldn't be like this. We should always return JSON data. So let's go to our controller, Ajax, and this is the thing right there. So normally we return the info likes, right? But what we're gonna do, sorry about that, what we're gonna do now is copy this and paste it over here. Okay. So now instead of just having this like this, we're going to add this content to info like that and say info. Then I'm just going to call this one error is equal to. Okay, so we're adding this to info, and this data type should be there before we even do this. So I'm going to cut that, and I will, let's see what I'm going to do here. Okay, maybe the error, okay, let me undo that. So what I'm going to do is move these there so that it exits from here. After this has already been done, okay, that should do. So what I can do now is go back to my like.view here. Let me remove this. I'll just mute it for now so you can use it later when you need. And if it's like, we get that. But we need to know if there's any error or not. So here what we'll do is we're going to say if obj.error is equal to empty, okay, now for this to work out well, we should always have object.error somewhere here. So what I'll do is I'll grab right here where there's info. I think we can just start with error at this point and set it to an empty string like that. Okay, that way error is always there no matter what we do. And then if I come back to the like, and then I can now alert to the error, say obj.error like that. Okay, and then I can return from there. No need to continue at that point. Alright, so I'm going to refresh, and this time I should see a message when I click. Things are not working out, so it's still having issues. So let's see what's in the console again. Okay, so it says fatal arguments can only happen to writable values. Assignments can only happen to writable values on line 25. So I think I've made a mistake. Line 25. Okay, that's the problem. There's an equal sign there, and that should solve the problem. So refresh and click. Oh, it says undefined. Okay, please log in to like to like, and then it just brings undefined there. If we refresh the page, it should be gone. Okay, which means it continued even here. Oh yeah, no, it returned that. It didn't continue. But if this is equal to empty, right, so this is my bad. Okay, what I'm supposed to do is, if this is not empty like that, then it should show an error. So let's refresh and let me click. There we go. Please log in to like. Okay, so that solves that problem. Now let's try and log in. Like so. And if I go now to photos, I can like this one and it worked just fine. All right, so that's all good. But now let's go and create some comments. Now the first thing we want to do is, with comments, it's always good to have a user profile image or something. But let's design the input field here for comments. So we're going to go to our single photo view. This one will be inside photo.view. Okay, so if the image is found, that's when we want to see comments. So right inside this. So I'm going to move this down like so. And let me put maybe an HR tag just to show some separation. Let me put a div that will contain the comments. Now this I can still put under here. Maybe let me put it under there like so. Yeah. Okay, so let's refresh and you see that line over there. Okay, maybe not the best idea to move them out of that div. Let me try again. Let's see what happens. Still looking the same. Doesn't really matter. But it's okay. Let me move them out actually. Alrighty then, so let's do some actually I don't need an HR tag. What I'm gonna do is put a class margin y3, which is top and bottom, and what else? Let's add a border. Let's add some padding, maybe 2 pixels. Let's do MX auto so it can go in the center, and then let's do style. Also, let's set this as a row. Let's do style, max width. So the max width can be 1200 pixels, something like this. And let's do BG light for a light background color. Alright, so here we go. We have our box down here. It's looking fine. Let's put maybe an H5 tag and say comments. Down here, I will put a form so that I can post stuff. Inside here, let me put a text area. Give it a class of form control. Something like that. Let's put a placeholder. Write a comment. Alright. Let's put a button. This one will be comment. class button primary. Let me put my3 there for the margin. Let's put a class here, gap3 my3. Okay, so let's see how that is looking. Okay, so we have comments there, and write a comment and comment. So this is good, but the margins are insane here. So let me just remove these margins. Yeah, maybe too much. Let's put a 2 there instead. Alright, so the max width I guess is too much. Let's put 1000 pixels. Alright, that fits perfectly. Okay, so now we can actually write a comment and hit comment. But let's design the look of the actual comments down here. So let's add a sample comment down here. Let me open my Lorem Ipsum website here for some dummy text, and let's see what we've got. Alright, so that's our Lorem Ipsum there for dummy text. And let me put the comments box down here. So I'm gonna put a div there, and I'm going to copy this div here so that it has similar actually, maybe what I could do is just put this within this part here, so I don't have to bother with adjusting it. Let me put a class margin y or margin top. Let's put a 3 there. Okay, so this is the container that will contain the comments. So we can put a class to help us grab this when we need to. So we're going to say JS comments like that. Now we want the comments to show up in real time, so we're going to use JavaScript to have them appear here in real time, and Ajax to read from the database. Okay, so this is the container for the comments. So let's make a div that represents one card or one comment in here. So inside there will be 2 divs. One contains the actual comment text, the other contains the username. So in here we're going to put an image for the user. So I'm going to use my get image function from there that comes with the framework, and here I'm just going to put empty quotes. In terms of classes, I'm going to put img thumbnail like that, and then let's use styles to limit the width and height. So width will be, actually let's do 100% for the width. And what I want to do is set this as a row. That way I can set these 2 as columns like that. And then since we know Bootstrap has 12 columns each, I want them to just change on the small view to wrap around on the small view. So that's 12, and I want one to have, let's say, 3 spaces versus a 9. That adds up to 12. So in here what I'll do is I want to have, let's see here, what can I do? I want the username in here. Let's put a username. So I'm going to put another div and say username. And over here we're going to put the time. So div. And then within this div I'll add a class of text muted. And then the actual comment or the actual text in here. So div again, and this one will have the text itself. So I'm gonna copy now from my dummy text page here up to where there's a full stop, probably, and let me paste there like so. Okay, so let's see what we've got so far, and if I refresh, this is what I get. So we have our username and the comment. Where is the date though? I should see. Oh, I didn't put anything here, so I can do something like 12th Jan 20 something there. Let's see here. Okay, so there's our date for the comment. This one is too wide, so let me put 2 here and put 10 over here. And then here I want this to center everything in there, so I'm just going to put the text center class from Bootstrap, and then let's refresh. Okay, so that's looking more like a comment. So the user, usually the user images are rounded, so let's say rounded circle. That's the class to actually round the thing a lot, like that. Okay, great. Now this has to be responsive, so let's check it out on responsive view, and this is what we get. So on this small view, it's going to enlarge the image, and this is how it's going to look like. So it will snap at some point, at this point here, boom. Okay, so I don't mind this snapping here, but this gets a whole lot bigger. So maybe, let's see. So column small 2, maybe we should add some more here. I'm just going to do column 2. I think that affects the very last part. Yeah, there we go. So that's still small in there. So this one determines how it looks when we are on the maximum view, on the smallest size view, but this is not what I want really. What I would rather have is for the image size to be limited. Let's see here. What to do. Okay, so I'm gonna put a max width, and the max width could be maybe 150 pixels. Let's test that and see if that is good. Okay, I think that's fine. Yeah, that way it goes like this, and then we'll have a comment here. Very nice. Okay, then it should also have a border bottom on the main thing here. Let's try border bottom. That way we can see where this comment ends. This one comment, I don't see. Oh, there it is. There's the border bottom here, but it's on the wrong thing. It should be on this guy here. This is the comment card. So here I'm gonna say single comment, like that, just so we know this is where the comment starts from. So that's the thing we're gonna add a border bottom to, like that. Okay, so there's a line there. Let's add a bit of padding so that that line isn't so actually maybe we add a bit. Let's see, padding Y1, margin Y1, like that. So Y pertains to the top and bottom, and X is left and right. Okay, so there we go. So a bit of padding and margin there. Very good. So let's see how it looks if we had 2 comments. So I'm gonna duplicate that comment, and let's see how that looks. And there it is. So 2 comments here. Very, very good. If I zoom out, this is what we get. Okay, so it's actually working. So comments, write a comment. I need this a little bit bigger. So what I'm gonna do is Actually, there's too much gap between these guys. Let's see, what does this affect? I actually have no idea what that G affects. Actually, it's... oh, okay. Apparently, I didn't need that. So, what I'm going to do though, to increase the size of this, I'm going to add some number of rows here. I'll put 3. I think that should make it slightly bigger. Okay, there we go. Right, so we're looking good. You know, comments there. That is awesomeness. And also we're going to need pagination here for the comments themselves. And so what we're going to do is down with the comments. Where is the comment section? Inside this div, this is the div that contains the comments. So just after that one, we can echo out our pager. So pager display function and close that. I don't think we instantiated that class there, so we will get an error instead, but that's fine. Not to panic. All we need to do is instantiate that class. So this is on the single photo view. So let's do it in the controller to limit the amount of code in the view file. So limit the amount of code in the view file as much as possible so that you can easily swap out the template if need be. That way your website can easily swap between templates. So photo.php, right in here, just like we instantiated these guys here, I'm going to instantiate pager for our pagination. Excuse me there. And since we're instantiating the pager, which means we will need some kind of pagination, so let's put in all the requirements here. The first thing is we need to know our limit. So limit number of comments to, let's say, maybe 10. And then we're going to pass in this limit to our pager so that it knows how to offset when we need an offset. So here we're going to grab the offset from within the pager. Now, since we've put the pager in here, that's what we are going to point to. Actually, it should be equal to the pager offset, because that contains an offset variable within it. That's what we will use for our query, the limit and the offset, but not this query because this one gets the single photo. What we want is the one that gets the comments. That's what we're going to paginate. Okay, now with that, we should have our pagination well set, and there we go. We have our page numbers down there. All right, so this is looking great. If I close that, this is what we get. So comments, very nice. Now the thing is, we can put usernames here. We don't have images yet. We're going to set that up so that at least when you go to your profile, you can actually add a profile photo there as well. Okay, very good. So now let's try and actually post a comment. Now, since comments won't be, wait, we're gonna use Ajax here at all. I think there's no need for Ajax here. We can just post comments directly with PHP and have it refresh the page. I think there's no need to suffer with Ajax because this is a straightforward thing. So yeah, I think we should just post normally, which is just fine. So what we'll do here is we're going to need our request class. So let's call request, oops, like so. Okay, so the request, and since we are saving stuff, we're going to need to know who this user is, and we're going to use session here. Now, since we already instantiated session here, let's just move that one to the top and I want a local version here, so I'm just gonna do slash is equal to something like that, so that both these variables are equal to the class. All right, so we have our request, blah blah blah. So it would be nice to read this stuff after we've made our post, if we are posting anything. So I'm going to put an if statement to check if we did indeed post something, and that's in the request posted function. Okay, so if something was posted, that's great. Usually after posting, we redirect our user back to the same page to avoid being asked to repost when we refresh the page. So here currently the page is, let's see the page URL. It's just photo slash the photo ID. So I'm gonna say photo slash what the photo ID is, and that is the ID that we're looking for. So just like that, we're redirecting back to the same page. Okay, so when we post, let me look for post data and set that to the request, and usually the post data is inside the post function like so. So posted just asks, did we post something? And then if request post, this one actually gives you all the data from the post variable. And what else? Okay, I think so far so good. What I just want now is to see what is inside post data, like so. All right, so let's go down here and let's make sure our form can actually post, and it can, so that's great. There's a button here, comment. Okay, so I'm sure that's gonna post something. And let's just put required here for, actually maybe not. Yeah, let's just put required here, just so we don't go through the trouble of having to post with an empty form. Okay, so I'm going to type my first comment on a photo, and let's hit comment. Okay, that did refresh the page, but oh yeah, it went all the way actually. So I should remove the redirect here so that I can see what's happening. Okay, my first comment, and let's hit the comment button. Okay, what's happening? What's going on? What's going on? Okay, I think it doesn't recognize that we've posted something because there's no name in here. So the text area should be named something. So name should be something like comment. Okay, I think that'll work this time. So let's try my first comment. Well, not really. Let's hit post. Oh, come on. Oh, now it has refreshed the page because then it didn't have a name. Let's try again. Okay, and hit comment. Okay, so as you can see, the trick to good programming is to be very patient with yourself. So don't get frustrated if you're not seeing what you want to see. Sometimes you may be missing just a very simple thing and you'll be pulling your hair out. So if it gets too heavy, just take a break, drink some tea, drink some coffee, come back and continue. You may see things a little differently after you've rested. Okay, so there we go. We have our comment and my first comment. So that's great. Things are looking up. So we can leave that redirect back there. So now, since we're going to have a new table for comments, we will also need a model to load, to manage that table. So in order to create a table, we use our command line tool. Let's do things proper. So I'm going to right click and open this folder. So in this folder, I want to open the command window. So I'm going to do cmd Now, if you're using something like VS Code, it already has a command line tool built within it, so you can use that instead to go directly to your folder. But for the rest of us that like to use the real command window, let's do this. We change directory to the current folder. Let me clear the screen, and I'm going to type PHP Thunder to activate our command line tool, and we want to make something, so we use the command make full colon, and what are we making? We are making a model called comment. So models are singular, so comment model should be created, and that worked. But we also need a database migration file for the table structure itself. So PHP Thunder make migration like that, and the migration name will be comments. This one is plural because it's the comments table. It doesn't really matter what you name it though, just for you to know that this is what the table is for. It'll work either way, it doesn't matter. So there we go. Okay, so we have a new migration file, we have a new model. This is good. So let's design our table in the migration file. So I'm going to go to migrations here, and we will see our new migration for comments right there. That's good. So the first thing we need is a user ID, of course, as int. Oh, just the ID, sorry. And then we're going to need a user ID as well. We need to know who commented on this thing. So user ID int 11, this is fine. It shouldn't be auto increment. Let's give it a default value of 0. All right. Date created, updated. We will not be editing comments. If you mistype something, just delete it and create a new comment. But if you want comments to be editable, maybe you may need the date updated so you know that this comment was updated. We will not be adding any data in here, so let's remove that. And we want another column for the comment itself. So I'm going to go comment. This one should be a variable character. You don't want to use text because unless you're going to allow unlimited lengths of comments, but for us, I think a simple comment with 2048 characters should do just fine. So it's up to you what you want there. Yep, this is okay. So the comment itself really is just the comment that we want, the date created. That's all, because looking at this, the only details we have is the comment itself, and I'm not sure how many characters this is. You could test how many characters is this by using PHP to actually count these characters. So if I go to my photo PHP here, I can easily just echo the string length of whatever string you put in there, like so. Okay, why is it string length? Let me put double quotes around that. Okay, so that will give you a ballpark number. If I refresh this page, let me just refresh the page. So that's 386, so that's quite a lot. 2048 looks like is quite enough. Okay, actually even 500 characters is quite a lot. So I can even reduce it to 1024, like 1024 characters. That's up to you. Keep the comments short, but that's indeed up to you. Okay, so this is all we need. This is all the information we need, but we also need to know where this comment is. What is the post? So here it's the post ID. Okay. Now, if you want to put replies as well, which we're not going to do here, replies are just comments as well, just like the other comments. Now, instead of putting them in a different table, you can put them exactly in the same table as the comments themselves. And then what you do is you add an extra column called parent. You call it parent, and then you know that if, let's say for example, I have a comment here and I add a reply, now this comment becomes the parent to this comment. So you save this comment, the reply, right in the comments table, but then you set this parent as the parent ID. You set its ID as a parent ID. And then when you're loading normal comments here, like the main comments, you just load those that do not have a number in the parent ID, which means they are main comments and they don't really have a parent. Any comment with a parent ID means is a reply. And then all you need to do now, once you load one comment, you can now make another loop to load all comments that have this comment as its parent. Then you know those are the replies to this particular comment there. So you can have replies of replies of replies in that way. You can go as many levels as you want in depth, because those replies can also have replies just by putting those as parents as well. So it really has no limit. That's how you can go about doing that. But I don't want to complicate the tutorial, so we're going to end with no replies. We just have the normal posts there. Okay, this is all we need for our actual comments table, unless I am forgetting something, but that looks like it's enough data. Okay, so since that's enough, we should create that table now. So I'm going to come here, and you see there is no table named comments. If I click there, it refreshes to the same thing. So over here, I can just run the migration file by selecting it there. Now, if you want to list the migration files, you do PHP Thunder, and then you say list migrations. And it's going to give you a list of all the migration files, and you can copy the one you want to migrate. So PHP Thunder and migrate, and then space, put that one there. So all we are saying is just run that class name, and it's going to run that, and table comments successfully created. That is awesome. So if I come back to here, the structure, you see there's a comments table here. If I go to the structure, I always forget to add the keys, so I need to have these guys keyed. So that's what I'm going to do. So here there's add primary key. I just want to add normal key for the user ID and the post ID, so that it's easier to read via those things. So what I'll do is PHP Thunder and migrate, and let's do a rollback of that same class. Okay, what just happened? That doesn't look, that command was not recognized. Please see below. Okay. What did I do wrong? So migrate, rollback, Thunder, it's migrate. Okay, my bad. Let me redo that, and maybe I can go ahead and put an R over there. Enter. Okay, so the table was removed. That's good. Now let's put it back with the new changes. So migrate space. Let me copy that migration file and paste it here. Okay, great. So now we have the table that is correctly set up with the indices that we want. Okay, cool. Now let's edit our model file, which was created as well to handle the comments table. And in here, we just want to put all the columns that are supposed to be there. So usually you just go to the browse thingy here and copy all of these columns, and let's put them here. Bam. So let me just put a comma on the spaces like so. All right, and then select the commas, move left, add a like that. Okay, great. So those are the allowed columns. The unique column ID here is if, for example, you don't want anything repeated with columns, then you can put that uniqueness there, but we don't need that here. We don't really need, oh, we do need validation. So on insert validation rules, there is the, let's look for one that's pretty close to what we want. So just the comment is just required. I think that's all. The rest of the characters don't really matter. So I'm going to remove all of the rest. We just need that. It's required. That is all. Okay. Goody, goody, goody. Okay, so everything seems to be good. So at this point now, since we have this data, we just need to validate the data. So I'm going to say comment. Now, let's see, comment is equal to new comment. Now, is it inside model? It's inside the model namespace. So we can just use it over here. Let's say comment, oops, like that. That way to recognize which one we're talking about. So new comment, that's great. And then we'll say comment insert. So just here, comment insert, like that, and then we put the post data. It's as simple as that, but we also need to validate our data. So we're going to do comment validate. Wait a minute. Yeah, actually it's a validate function. And let's validate our post data like that. And if things come out positive, then we can insert like that. Now the post data doesn't come with date variables, so let's add that in there. So I'm going to do post data and put a date over here, and the date, we're going to use a date function, and we'll do ymd as always, hour, minute, seconds, like that. Also remember that we have to add a post ID. Wait a minute. Go back here. Okay, so these are the columns we have to fill in. No, this is wrong. Comment.php, that's right. So we need to know the post ID, the user ID as well, and the date. So we've created our date, that's fine. We can ignore this for now. What else? So user ID. So what is the user ID? Now this user must be logged in order to post comments. Now in case they do post comments and they're not logged in, we should not allow this. So we should have an if statement right here that checks for this. So we're going to say and if something was posted and session is logged in, like that. So we must be logged in for that to work. So user ID here, let's grab our user ID, and we created a function to do that for us. We're going to say user ID, like so. Let's duplicate this and let's grab our post ID as well. Now the post ID is right here on this part there. So we're going to put that here. Now it's very possible that the post we're trying to add a comment to does not exist, because for some reason if I just type yeah, anyway, somebody can spoof a post request to a post that does not exist. So we need a way to know that the post is real. So in this case, this is how we know that, by running this query and getting those results. So I was wrong in saying we need this after that. So I think we need this first. So I'm just going to move this entire thing up there like so. Now when moving these, I press Ctrl Shift and the arrow key up, like so. Okay. That way we have a row there, and I need a local version here, so I'm going to do row like that as well. Then I'll grab this row over here and say, oh, this must be correct. So row must be something, and we must have posted something. Actually, let's just start by checking if something was posted. Then let's check if the row exists. And then let's check if the user is logged in. All that has to be true for us to post. Okay, great. So I'm going to grab the post ID from here, but it doesn't really matter. It's the same thing at the end of the day. Wait a minute. Yeah, the issue here is row should also be here, adjusted. Yep, like so. Row, row, row. Okay, that's great. Okay, so far so good. And we validate. Where are we? Validation. And if things go well, post ID, date, comment is already part of this, so that's going to work out just fine. But then if things didn't go very well, we may have some errors over here, and this should only redirect if indeed we made it. Otherwise, if we get here, then things probably didn't go well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put inside this data over here my errors. So I'm going to say data errors should be equal to the errors from the comment class, like so. Great, but let's set this to something while we are still here. No, we don't actually need to. Okay, so that's fine. Everything seems okay. Good. And then now we need to be able to read these comments if possible, right? So we have our pagination set up here, and what I'm going to do is say comments. Now these variable names, you have to be careful with those, and because this is the class name, right? Comment, these are comments with an S there for the actual comments. So we're going to use the same class name and say is equal to comment. Now let's make sure we instantiate comment here above this so that it's always there even when we're not posting anything. Okay. So it's going to be comment, and we're going to use a where clause here and an array where we need to know the post ID. So we want to read all comments where the post ID is equal to our current post ID, like so. Okay, so all comments from there should be taken. And let me close that. Okay, I think that does the job, but these comments should go in here, so we better send this to that data array instead, like so. All right, but remember that we have our limit and our offset here so that our pagination can work as intended. So we're going to set those babies here. I'm going to say comment limit should be equal to whatever limit we set up there. The same should go for the offset. So let's add that offset there, like so. If you want the order, you can order type where you order by descending or ascending. You can change that there as well. Yep, I think that does it. So if you want to know what's capable with this, you can just go to model, as always, inside core model.php here, and these are the items I'm actually getting from. So because whenever we are running functions within this trait, it takes into account the limit, the offset, and the order type and the order column itself, and this is where we get our errors as well. So when you manipulate these, you actually change those behaviors as well. So let me close that. Alrighty then, this is looking good. Now if we go back to our photo view here, now when I was still learning to program, when I was still just a noob, I would type a few lines of code and then check to see if things are working, come back and type. As you get better and better, you can begin to actually type pages and pages of code and not need to actually refresh the page to see if what you're doing is going well. So when you find yourself typing so much code before you actually check to see what's going on, and it turns out it works just fine when you do, then you know your level is improving. That's how you can monitor your progress as well. Okay, so with that in mind, we are expecting a comments variable over here that we're going to loop through this, right? So in here, at this point, we're going to check to see if there are comments. So we're going to say, if not empty, comments, right? So if there are comments here, let's do this. We just need one comment to loop through. So we're going to put an end if there, like so. And let's move this inward. We can happily delete this one. All right. So within this, I'm gonna duplicate that and duplicate this one. Over here, I wanna add a div, and this is gonna be a card. So I'm just an alert, I think, an alert danger. Sorry about that. Here, no comments found. Something like that. Maybe it doesn't need to be red. Maybe it can be a success, like a green version of the alert. Don't forget this should be an else statement with full colon. Let's move that in. And I'm gonna duplicate that and put that as an end for each, because I'm gonna change this to a for each loop. And these comments as, I think I'm gonna put as row here. Now it's up to you. Maybe see row like that as comment row, which makes it crow or something. What you put here doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I just don't want it to override this in case we need to use it a bit later down the page. So maybe let's say com instead. Let's call it com, short for comment. All right, so here we need to know who the commenter is using the user ID. So here I'm going to say user ID, like that. That's what we're going to use for now. And for the image, that should come from the user ID's row, but we don't have images yet for users, so we're going to ignore that for now. And then over here we will need the comment itself. So I'm just gonna PHP. I'm gonna do comment, close that. But we always need to escape long text, especially because it may contain malicious code. Here we're gonna do get date over there, and that's inside com. Actually, date created. I think that's the correct thing. And here also this should be comment as the column. All right. What else? I think that should do. So let's refresh and see what we've got. So no comments found. Great. We can say no comments found, be the first to comment. Okay, so let's see that. Be the first. So let's put that like so. Alrighty then, great, looking good. But I think we do have comments, do we? No, we don't have comments yet. Okay, so this is my first comment. So let's see, I'm gonna copy that so I don't have to keep typing it in case of errors. So I'm gonna click comment, and there we go. This is my first comment. Seems things are working. And this is my second comment. Yeah, comment, great. So you can see that over there, it's happening. Let's try a comment by a different user entirely. Actually, let's see if we can reduce the max width to 100. Maybe we just need, I think that's fine actually. Okay, so that's a comment, that's great. Now let's try the numbers here, not very flattering, and look at the date. The date is all wrong. Let's see here what's going on. Okay, now that's because date created is null instead of giving us an actual date. So something is wrong there. This should be date created. I forgot, sorry, my bad. So let's try again. Let's say my third comment. Let's see here, my third comment. Or instead we can use lorem ipsum. So you see, this is my third comment, and it has a proper date, which is nice. Now the thing is, comments go from top to bottom, right? Now this is up to you how you want to do this, but I think comments, the very first comment should be here, and the last one down there, I think. Now if that's the thing you want to do, you can change the order here. Just say order type and change that from descending to ascending, like that. So if I do that, now the very first comment is here, the last one is down here. Right, this is great. Now let's try a different user, because as you can see the user ID is 1 here. Let's try a different user. So we're gonna log out and let's log in as somebody else. Okay, let's go to our photos. Let's click on this one. There are some comments here. So we're gonna say a new comment by Mary, and let's hit comment. Okay, so you can see there it shows number 2. So it is recognizing that this is a different user to these guys, but we need a way to grab the user content as well. So one way to do that is you can loop through these to get comments, but instead what we could do instead is since we have a model here, instead of having to retype what we're doing, in case we want to load comments on a different page, we should have some universal code. So what we do is we go to comment.php here. Remember that this is a class, so we can add methods to it, extra methods. So I'm going to put public function, which is a method, get comments. That's what we're going to call it. Now if you like the other camel case like this, you can use that as well. So now here we're going to expect the rows of comments, or the, wait a minute, we're going to expect the post itself. Wait, no. This is not get comments. This is get user details. Yeah. Like that, get user details, and we're going to expect rows of comments. Yeah, comment rows there. If you like type hinting, you can put array over here, because this should be an array. All right, so we're going to do a for each loop where we go through the rows and these are rows of comments, rows as row. And what I'm gonna do is return rows at the end of the day. Return rows like that. So we're given a bunch of rows of comments. Now we loop through them, add some extra data and return them back. That's what we're trying to do here. So first of all, in order to query anything, we can use this like so. And then since I want to get a single row from the users table, I could use, actually, since I'm getting this from a very different table than the one I'm using right now, it's better to use the query function so I can put an actual query in there. So I'm going to say select all columns from users where the ID, because I know I will be supplied an ID within each row of a comment. So ID is equal to ID, and let's say limit 1, because we know there's only one column. Isn't there like a get row function somewhere to avoid what I'm about to do? Wait a minute, I think I missed that. It should be in the database trait. Ah, there it is, get row. Nice. Okay, so instead of query, I'm going to use the get row function. It's the same as query, it's just that this returns one result, and that's exactly what I want. This is why I can actually replace these guys here. Wait a second. Wait a second. In fact, like here, I don't need to use query. I can use get row instead. So so if I do the get row function there, then I don't need to do this anymore. So I can just remove that like so. Okay, that should still work as intended. I forget sometimes that that function exists, this one here. Okay, so this get row, and now we need to tell it what ID is. So the ID will come from the user ID in that row. So let's supply ID as row user ID like that. Okay, great. So now if we return a result, this is going to be a user row. That's what we're gonna call it. So what we will do, if it returns something, let's put an operator here. Actually, let's just check if something was returned. So we're gonna say if user row like that, then let's do rows. Now, not that we're supposed to manipulate rows, not this temporary thing, because we're going to return rows back. So that's what we need to manipulate here. So which means in this array, in this loop, I will need a key as well, like that, key row. That way I can access the particular row from within the main array. So this is going to be equal to user row, but this is the entire row, right? So I need to choose one column to provide that. So I'm going to call the column user row as well. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're creating a new column within a new property within this array, and we are assigning a row of the user there. So let me show you how this actually works, or what it's doing with a visual. So when we read the comments, this is what we get, right? Data comments right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do show data comments. That way you see exactly what's happening in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do data comments, the same one replaced now with the comment class, and then we run that function within the comment class, and then we supply it the original comments in there. So now it's going to return one that contains our user content. So I'm going to do a show before and after. That way we see what's going on. So if I refresh, this is what we see. So the first thing we see is an array of objects, and this is what they have. These are the comments, 3 comments, 4 comments actually to be precise. And then look how different they are now. Now they contain an extra pocket of data for the user role. And this is the entire user role that created this. So each one of these will have that. Now it's also possible that it didn't find a result for the current user that you're trying to find. So this may not exist. So you should code for that as well. So don't just assume that it will always find a record there. All right, so that's how it's going to be here. So let's go back to our photo view here, and within there, let's see. So instead of this user ID here, I want to grab, I don't even know the columns within the user role. So there's a username, that's what I want there. And yeah, that's probably it. So just the username. So here we're going to change this to user role and then another pointer for username, like that. So that's how we get the name of the user. So if I refresh, you see there and there. Very, very nice. Now it's possible this may not exist, like I said. So we'll put 2 question marks at the end, and then just put the word unknown if we don't know the user that posted that for some reason. Okay, then once we add images to profiles, then those images can actually show here. We can put that in advance by, let me grab this, by putting that in here. So instead of username, we'll call the column image, and if there is none, we just put an empty there, like so. Okay, so get image, blah blah blah. I think there's something wrong with the code here. If I close that, we're already inside PHP, so we don't need to echo this. And let me remove that. Okay, great. So right now it won't show any images, but the moment we have images, it's gonna show that here. Right, this is looking great. Now also, you can edit and delete your comment if it belongs to you. So we can put those edit and delete buttons just like we did over here. So I'm going to grab this, copy, and we should have added that. So down here, I'm going to paste that like so. Let's see how this will fare. So if the user is logged in, that's great. That's number 1. If the user ID is equal to, now we use the comment role, right? So instead of row like that, we're going to change that to com for the comment. And instead of upload delete or upload edit, this should be, how do we do this? It should be right on this same page. So this page is a photo, so we're gonna use that. But yeah, I think that works just fine. The URLs are up to you to design how you want them to be. So the one I own, as you can see, it shows those. So instead of saying delete image, we just say edit delete. Let's put a break tag over here. Actually, break tags are lame, but it will do the trick. Okay, that's great. So edit, delete. Wait a minute. Where is it? What's happening? Photo delete /4. I don't know what just happened. Get user details. What's going on? On line 50. What's happening? Ah, right, because it's trying to get that ID there. Okay, so that's one thing I didn't think about. So let's come back here to the photo.php. Here where we are giving this, if it's not an array, wait a minute, what's the error actually? Uncode type. Argument 1 must be an array, but something else was given. So if this does not, it could either be an array or false. So let's go back here to do this. It's either an array or a boolean. And then we can't loop through a boolean, so we're gonna say if rows, like that. And then let's do this. Let's remove that. And there we go, like so. Okay, that way if it's not an array or if it's not empty, then we can just return the original stuff. Okay, so image not found. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so we're gonna fix that for when we need to do those. Okay, I think this is great so far. This seems to work. So let's try comments on other pages as well, on other photos. Let's see if it's going to recognize that these are just for this photo. If I go to another photo, it doesn't have comments, right? So my first comment here, let's comment that, and there we go. Okay, so it actually does know where to put the comments. Yeah. Very, very cool. Now to just make things better, we can actually add an icon there if you want to show how many comments are on this thing. If that's the thing you want to do, you can actually do that. So one like and how many comments. Let's see. I think it's better to put it down here. So let's see that, how we can go about doing that. So the same way we have inside like, we do have a get likes count function. So I can easily just copy this guy, come to the comment model and paste here something similar. Instead of get likes, we have get comments. So we get the post ID and then we just grab the total number of comments from there. So here we just change that to comments and wait, where post ID, I don't think we have disabled there. We just count how many comments are there and let's remove that. Okay, and just like that we have the number. So let's go to let's see here. Let's go to the photo card single thing here because it has the heart color, blah blah blah. So there's this div here that has an SVG in there, which is great. So let's go back to icon monster. And this time I want to grab an icon for messages like chat or comment. Let's do comment there. Okay, so there we go. Not a lot of choice here now, is it? So this is up to you which one you want to use. I think let's try this one. Oh, let's see if I can search for chat. yeah, we get more options like this. Very good, very good. Yeah, even these actually look more like comments, right? Maybe this. Yeah. Okay, regardless, it's up to you which one you want to use. So let's see what that is. That's a full thingy. What to do, which one to get? Let me try this one. Embed. Let's get that embed code. Alrighty then, so I'm just going to duplicate this guy over here, and I can replace my SVG with the new one. And of course, let's remove this part. We don't really need it. Alright. So this doesn't have an on-click listener at all. We don't need to adjust commenting in there. Class is heart. Is that necessary? Okay, in any case, let's come back and let's see how that looks. So it has simply replaced the let's see here. Heart color, blah blah blah. Which one is which? Let me grab one of these colors here and do a fill. Alright, so let's see how that is. Okay, I think that works, but it's right over the top of the other one. So we need to fix that. Let's see. It actually zooms in. Zoom. Actually, maybe we can put an on-click listener. My bad, I removed that one, but let's put one, right? What we want to do is when somebody clicks on this, we want to redirect them to the actual post, right? So they can comment. So the post is, the link is, what's the link actually? So what we can do here is we can just say window.location, and then window.location we can put an equal sign. Now remember that on these on-click lists, now whatever we add here is JavaScript, not PHP but JavaScript. So let's put quotes, and I can still echo my PHP within there as long as I put my PHP tags like that. So I put the root directory /photo, and then / I need to just put the ID, which is row ID there, like that, and then close those PHP tags. So just like that, it will take us to the comment page. So if I click on that, here we go. Look at that. That way we can actually add a comment. Then if I lower this now, I just need to lower this guy in order to wait. Okay, so we have likes here. We need to have a get likes, right? Likes, get likes. Where did I instantiate this from? This is getting complicated. Okay, let me duplicate this. Okay, so instead of likes, I'm going to change everything here to comment. Yep. And then here get comment. Great. And then this will be comments. Okay, things are working out, but we need this, or is it this? Yes. We need this class, just like we sent in this one. So I'm going to go to, let's see here, photos.view, because this is where we actually sent the like model. These are becoming too many for my liking, but what can we do? So I'm going to send one called comment. Okay, but we need to know where that's coming from, right? Let's do the same on the home page, because on the home page we have a similar situation. So I'm gonna send that class, but then we need to instantiate that class. So if I go to photo.php, actually photos.php, I need to instantiate that comment thing from here. So I'm gonna tell it there, and just like the like here, all right. So exactly what we've done here we should do on the home controller. So duplicate that, and let's do comment class, and let's put that here as well. Okay, that should do just fine. Okay, so no errors so far, and as you can see there are numbers. This one has 4 comments, that has 1 comment, the others don't. So the only thing I want to do is move this thing down. Okay, so let me see if we go back to the photo card. Excusez-moi. So here we want to do, so there's right 10 pixels, that's fine, but we need to add a top margin as well. So on the second one here we're going to add top, and let's say maybe 30 pixels. So this is just trial and error. We will see where it lands. Okay, not there yet. Let's put 40. See what happens. And there it is. Actually, maybe instead of having to struggle with this, let's just put it at bottom. At the bottom. 10 pixels from the bottom, and there it is. So there's a comment, so you can move it around until you position it exactly where you want. Okay, maybe it's not there yet. Let's put 22. Let's see. Boom. Not quite. Let's put 23. Alright, I kinda like that better. Okay, so it's really up to you what you want to do, where you want to put this, etc, etc. Maybe it's better where they are together there. Let me give it another shot up there. Let's try 33. Oh, okay. 53 then. Okay, maybe that's better. Let's try 50. Maybe a lot closer. Let's try 45. Kinda like that. Okay, maybe these guys should have a fixed width. Maybe that will look much better. But regardless, this is just CSS that you can play around with, and until you get the design or the desired effect that you want. Let's see, what? It looks better when they're the same height like this, right? What could do that? Let me think. And let's see, what if we just remove the background image, the background color? Let's remove the BG white. Out of my way. Boom. Okay. Kinda works, but still not really. Okay. So this is up to you. It's a design issue, and I don't want to get into design issues here, those are very specific to whatever you want, so can't really say this is better, this is not, because those things are subjective. You could give a width, specific width to these things, like for example, let's try, say, width 50 pixels, something like that. That way it gives them exactly the same height regardless what's going on. The way the number went down like that may be a good thing or a bad thing depending on your situation. Let's try 80 or maybe just 100 pixels. Let's see how that fares. Way too much. Let's try 80. Then you can reduce the font size as well, just to make sure the numbers don't go overboard when there's too many likes or comments. I think that works for me. Let me also try font size here. Let's see, wait a minute. I can change the font size directly on this here. So I'm gonna do style, font size. Let's try 11 pixels, like so. Ooh, that's really small. Let's try 13. I think 13 is acceptable, but that's entirely up to you what you want to do. So design it as you wish. And yep, there we go. Let me try a gray color here. 1 second. Fill color gray. Let's see how that will fare. Okay, so these things are up to you. Do what you need to do, show what you need to show. Let's see, if I inspect this, let's grab a color. Let me look for a very specific color for our comment thingy. Something that doesn't take itself too seriously, I think. Let's see. It's too light for the background, for the white background, so maybe... Oh, come on. I don't want to waste time on this. But it turns out I'm wasting time on it. But bear with me for a second. Let's do that. All right. Yeah, okay. I think that's okay. All right, so we have comments now. Very good, very good, very good. Pagination, if I go to page 2, you will see no comments can be found. Be the first to comment. This is wrong now because we are on second page, right? So let's go back to photo view, single photo view. So let's remove the be the first to comment. You can set it up so that only when there's a single, when we are not on page 1, should this display or something. But I'll just remove it. Okay, so no comments found. First, there are some comments there. All right, this is great, going well. Let's have the edit and delete here, then we can call it a day. Now for the edit and delete, let's go into this user that has more comments. At least we will have more stuff to delete. So log out and let's go to the main. All right, so for O's, let's go back to the home page. Let's see. Okay, so things are working as fine. No, not there, right there. So here where we have 4 comments at least, so more for this guy. So I could delete my first comment. Now if I click delete, it just says not found, blah blah blah. Now here we can because if I click on the delete, I can go to another page where I ask the user if they want to delete or not. But let's use a bit of JavaScript instead. So what I'm going to do is on the delete here, I'm going to put a hash here so it doesn't go anywhere when I click. And then I'll put an on-click listener. So on click, and I'm gonna say, let's see what's going on here. So there's post.like. So we can create a post.delete comment. Now the best would have been to create a comments object and then just say comment.delete. That would make more sense. But I don't want to create another object just to have one function inside it, because we won't be needing we won't be putting any more functions in there. So post.delete comment. Here we can put the comment ID. So I'm just going to put that comment ID in there like so. Okay, so now let's create that function down here. Now that function will go in the JavaScript file. Oh, actually, that's the thing. You know, we don't actually have... Okay, so on second thought, let's actually just create that object. So it's going to be comment.delete. Okay, so down here, let's make our script tags. You can put those script tags anywhere. So I'm going to create an object. I'm going to say var comment is equal to, so that's how we make the object. And within here, I want to create the delete function. This is going to be equal to a function. And that function expects an ID. Okay. So we also need the event. No, we don't actually need the event. No, we don't. So we're going to have an if statement, confirm. When you do the confirm here, then it will ask the users a prompt. It will show a prompt. Are you sure you want to delete this comment? Question, exclamation point, and then return here. So we'll put a note here and say, if it doesn't work out, let's return. If we get to this point, then the user clicked the yes button. So are you sure you want to delete? Yes. So let's see that in action. If I refresh and I click on this, it's going to ask me, are you sure? If I cancel, nothing happens. Okay, so the reason it scrolls up is because of this hash over here, because it's trying to find something. So what I'll do instead is I'll remove this, the href altogether. But if I do that, then the cursor will not change to a hand when I try to do things. So what I'll do, let me put a style, and here I'm going to say cursor pointer. Okay, then let me put a class here and say text primary to keep it blue, because it had changed color there, right? So class is equal to, and then we put that text primary in there. Okay, so that way to change to a blue color, and when I click it still does what I want, and when I cancel it doesn't scroll anywhere. Okay. Right, so with that in mind, we can simply now create our HTTP request and send some data. So instead of repeating ourselves, typing and typing, I can simply just copy from here. So there's this send data function that I want. So what to do. I want to keep this simple. So I'm going to copy all of this into photo view, paste over there, like so. Boom, boom. Okay, so no, this shouldn't be in here. This should be in a function of its own, like that. Boom. Okay. So here we're going to send data just like we do over here. So I'm going to grab all of this, copy that into here. Okay. So we create an object. We want to give it the post ID, which is that. So I'm going to name it post ID, like so. Actually, this is comment ID. Yeah, comment ID, data type. I'm going to call this one delete comment as the data type. Okay. Oops. I just dropped something. Alright, so data type, comment ID, and then instead of post, we are inside the comment. Let me replace actually all references to post in here. Except some of these should not change. But let's do that. Let's change commenting. So commenting should be a value as well. So here we're going to do commenting as equal to false, first of all. Okay, we have that, we have that. Instead of handle result, here we just put an alert, say your comment was deleted. We just assume it was, like that. But if you want, you can put error messages and all that, but not really necessary because most of the time it's gonna work. Then we have root here, comment.root, where we're not going to be needing this because we will use root directly. We're not going to put this inside a separate file. So PHP will be processed in this file, so we can put some PHP there. And what else? This one should always be post. Okay, your comment was deleted, blah blah blah. Okay, I think we're in business. Yes. So if I now do this, oh wait a second, your comment was deleted and it should refresh the page. So here we're going to say window.location.reload. All right, that's great. So if I now refresh, it's not going to delete or anything, but it's going to do the process as if it has. Your comment was deleted, and then refresh the page. But now the thing we need to do is actually delete the comment. So we are supplying this to the Ajax page, right? Because that's where all the Ajax is going. So let's go to the controller for Ajax. Okay, so here we have data type like, and so all we need to do is put an else if statement. I'm going to copy this and let's paste that there. So this one is delete comment as the data type. Boom. Okay. Doing great, doing great. Now we expect a comment ID, okay, inside post data. So what I'm going to do is instantiate the excuse me here. Let me make an instance of, there's the like thingy there, but let's make one for the comment. I guess it would be nice to instantiate it only when we need it down there, but looks better when they are all together up here. It's about looks and not functionality. Okay, so at this point I will have a post ID and I need to have a user ID as well. So what we'll do is run a query. So we're going to say comment delete. Yeah, comment delete. And in order to delete, we need the ID of the thing we're deleting. Now the problem here is that actually we should read from the database first of all. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's grab that row of a comment. So we're going to use comment first, like that. And what I need here is the post ID. Wait a minute, that's the comment ID itself we already have. Okay, so we need first to read this so that we know we have access. We have the rights to delete it. So our user ID must match. So here what I would do is say ID should be equal to whatever the ID we brought in from post data, like that. So this we code that comment ID in there, but also the user ID should match. That way we know that the user that's trying to delete this actually has the right to do so. So did I activate user ID anywhere, by the way? Okay, so we're doing it like that. Or we can use that function we created. I think we should use that function. So it's user ID, like that. Okay. So if there is a comment in the table that has a specific ID that we got and the user ID is equal to the current logged in user, then things are good. So we should only delete it if we manage to return a row from it, meaning we have access to it. So comment delete, and then now we can use the ID from the row. That's it, really. Alright, so let's give it a test run and see what happens. So first comment should be gone if we do this, and it's gone. Look at that, as simple as that. Okay, so that's how you can delete the comments. What about edit? Well, edit, all we need to do really is excuse me, all we need to do really is oh, wait a minute, that's a little more complex. Now all we need to do here is actually supply just grab the comment that's here and put it in here, and then we can know that this is an edit by just supplying the comment ID as well. So what I'm gonna do is, where there's a photos view here and there's a form, this is the form right here, we can put a hidden field over here. So we're going to do input, oops, right, type is going to be hidden, okay, and then a value that is empty, like that. But we need a name as well. This one is comment ID. All right. So if this value isn't empty, there's a value in there, then we know that whatever we are posting here is actually being edited. So let me close the Ajax page here. Let's go to the photo.php. So this is the point where we comment, you see. We validate everything, and then finally we insert. Now, if for some reason we do have a post data ID, then we know that this one is an edit. So check if this is an edit. So we're going to do if not empty, right? Data, comment ID, like that. If that one is not empty, then we are editing. Else, we are inserting. So let me move all of this in there, like so. And then I'll need just these two. Copy, paste. So date updated is there. And comment update, like that. Post data. Okay. So that should work. But when we're updating, we need a the ID actually, so we can use this same comment ID and put it here. But as always, we need to know if this user actually has the rights to this item. So what I'm going to do is do comment row, like that, is equal to comment class, and then let's do first to grab the item, and we're going to use the comment ID. So I'm going to say ID should match this comment ID, okay, but also the user ID, as always, should match the current user. So user ID, and then here we'll use that function user, and then ID, like so. Okay, great. Now, if there was a row that was returned, then, only then, should we update. So, like that, and then let's move these babies up there. Then we can now use the comment row in here, ID, and then whatever post data is in there. But really, the only post data we want is, yeah, actually this should be an array. Yeah, I think that actually works. This is fine. Okay, I think that should work. But now we need to set it up on the other side. So some little JavaScript there to enable us to click edit and see our stuff there. Okay. Now I need to be able to navigate back to this position where there is the form. So in order to do that, I should give my form an ID. So I'll give this one my form. Okay. So all I want to do now for the edit, let's go to the edit here. So maybe I did need this thing. So what I'll do is I'll duplicate, and this one is going to be edit, like that. So we edit, and then we supply the comment ID of the thing we are editing, right? Alright, so the thing is, we need to be able to get the information of that particular comment, and actually because we need something to put in here. So there's text there, but we need to let's see here. There's text in here. We need to be able to grab this text and put it in here when we click edit, so that when I click edit, it goes there. Okay, but first thing is, now there are two ways to do that actually. Before, let me mention that one thing would be to go back to the server and get the information about this comment, bring it and load it here. That's one way to do it. Another way could be we could create an entirely new page for editing the comment. That's another way to do it. The third one is what we're going to do. When we click, we should have the information, but instead of going to the server to get it, we should already have it stored in the JavaScript. So how can we store that information? So we can do this and say, let's create a comments variable here, and then that is going to be equal to json.parse, like this. Oops, what am I doing? Comma. Okay, so we're going to do json.parse, and we're going to parse an array in here. Now the way this works is, if I have an array like this and say my array like that, so whatever text, this is just normal text, right? But because it's in JSON format, once I do json.parse, it's going to mean comments will be equal to an actual array. So what we can do here to prove that this works is, I can do a console.log and say comment.comments to show me what's contained in there. It won't return the string that I have put, but an actual array. So let's inspect in the console. Let's go to the console here, and I'm going to refresh the page. Okay, so it says uncaught syntax error, unexpected character, so it doesn't understand this. So let's put double quotes in there, because that's how it should be actually. So if I refresh, now it's a valid array, as you can see. So there's an array with an item in there. So what we can do is, this is how we can transfer data from PHP to JavaScript, by simply grabbing the array that came from PHP, and that array is comments, right? Let's echo it in there. So comments is right there, right? If there are comments, we have them. But it's very possible that comments could be empty, and if it is, let's put those double. We instead supply an empty array. That way we don't get any errors, even when there are no comments. Because if you go to a page where there are no comments, then this would have been a problem. But let's see, maybe indeed it is a problem. And then there it is. So it's a syntax error, unexpected value. Okay, now the reason it's unexpected is because we are trying to echo an actual array here, and we can't echo an array unless we convert it to a string. Now we can do that in PHP using JSON encode, like so. So we convert the array to a string that JavaScript can actually convert back to an array in form of JavaScript array, and voila, everything is great. Actually, this bracket should be here, like so. Okay, good. So let's try this out, and there it just says false. Okay, great, because we're on page 2. But when we go to the first page, it's an actual array containing the comments. So there are 3 comments here, and it's true there are 3 comments. That is great. But when we go to the other one, it says false. Okay, good enough for me. Actually, it shouldn't say false. It should just be an actual array. So how do we the problem is this returns false, and this only works on a null. So what I'm gonna do is instead, let's put an is array thingy there. If this is an array, okay, then we return it. Otherwise, we put a full colon there and return an empty array instead. Okay, I'm trying to get rid of this false to get an empty array instead. And there we go, we got an empty array. Very good. That way we always have an array as comments, whether we have comments or not. And then if we go back to page 1, oopsie then, something wrong. Okay, So here it doesn't work well. Something wrong. Is array that, otherwise that, and then JSON encode. Okay, so let me see what's happening. We can do that by going to the view page source, and let's see what kind of string was given instead of what we want. So this is the part here. It says undefined variable comment. Okay, so that's why it's supposed to be comments. Okay, my bad. Let's refresh, and there we go, we have an array. So what are we doing? Let's go back to the page source here for a second so I can explain. Yeah, so you see, as far as JavaScript is concerned, by the time it became active, PHP had echoed this string. So this is valid JSON, and so when we do json.parse in JavaScript, it converts that into an array. So this is all the comments on the page. Yeah. So now we have them in an array, so we can easily grab that data whenever we want. This issue of having to go back to the server to read the information is okay. We can do it that way, but the problem is where there's low internet speeds, you're going to have problems. So it's better you have the data already stored in your JavaScript. You just send it where you want. So now if we have these comments here, all we need to do is look for the comment ID that matches what we want in there, and we know we have our comment there. So we're going to do that in the edit section. So let's do this. Let's do a for each loop. So there's a comment ID in edit there, and also we need to do the same thing we did here. So I'm going to copy this entire thing and put it on the edit there, like so. And this one is going to be .edit, like that. That's the only change. Okay, so that works. And when we come back here, we have our comment ID. So all I need to do is loop through my object. So I'm going to say for, what are we looping through? So we're looping through an array, and this array is comment.comments. Yeah, so every time we loop through there, we get the object that we want. So now all we need to do is make a comparison. So this comments I, the current comment dot ID is equal to the comment ID we supplied. So we're just checking, is this row containing the same comment ID as the one we are trying to edit? And then if it is, then we break the loop. We stop looping, and we need to grab the ID, the I, the current I. So here I'm going to say let row ID is equal to 0, and then let's set row ID here to whichever one we found. So row ID will be equal to I. Okay, that way we know where it's located inside the comments that we added here. Okay, so we use that to find out. Now if we don't find out, if here if we say I'm used to Java to PHP, sorry. If row ID is still equal to 0, then we return with an alert and say could not find comment, exclamation point, or comment not found or something, which means we couldn't find it in our records, so we can't edit it. Otherwise, if we don't return there, then we can now put our comment data inside the current inside this right there. So we put that text there and so on. So we need a way to grab these babies. So inside the form there's an input there. That's my form. I'm looking for, I don't want to grab using that, so let's grab using a class name. So I'm gonna do JS comment ID. Okay, this one as well has a class form control, but then let's add our own here. I'm gonna say JS comment. Maybe we call it comment text, like that. Okay, good. Those are the two things we need really. So here, what I'm going to say is document.querySelector. So in here we look for my form, which is an ID. That way we are targeting a very specific form. But within the form there, I'm targeting JS. Don't forget the dot, because it's a class name. JS comment dash text, okay, dot value. So the value of that is going to be equal to, because now we know where to get our row. It's inside comment.comments, and the extension is I, and dot comment. So that's the column name where we can find our comment in there. So let's duplicate this. This one is for the hidden field. So this is comment ID. Did I use comment ID in the... Yes. Okay, there we go. So comment ID. And here, wait, comment ID? Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, that's the ID. Great. That alone should do. And then I want to focus on this, to bring this into focus. So I'm going to grab it again and just say dot focus. That way you're ready to type. Okay. And also I want to scroll to the form itself. So we're going to do document. In fact, we're going to do window dot location. So we want to do an href. So href, we want to navigate to another page, but not really. We just want to bring that form into focus. So here we're going to say window. Oh, sorry. What are we going to do? We need root here. So we use the one from PHP. And we know this is the photo page, and then slash, we need that photo ID. But how do we get that ID at all anyway? We can grab it from... wait a minute. We can send it from data here. So from the photo PHP file here. So this ID is here, right? But I want to send it to data. So I'll just send it here. Just do ID is equal to that ID at the top, because that's the ID for the actual photo. So we will use it here as well, like that. Now in case ID does not exist, let's put a 0 instead, just for the heck of it. Okay, very good, right? Let's test our content. Yeah, so if I click edit, could not find comment. Oh, okay, that was quick. What's happening? Oh, this one was found. But wait a minute, I navigated to this, but what I really wanted to do was put a hash at the end, like so. So it doesn't really move, but then it moves to a specific element. is ID based on the ID. So that's the form right there. That's how you do it. So let me try this. If this is not in focus and then I click edit, there it is. This is my third comment. Okay, so that's working. This one doesn't work for some reason, but this one does. Let's inspect this. Also, let me move it down like this so that I see if it brings it into focus every time. So when I click edit like that, boom, it does bring it in focus. But it doesn't focus the thing. Why? Why you not focus on this? Okay, maybe let me do this last, like so. Dot focus. After moving the window, let's try that. Boom, okay, it did bring it into focus so that I can just start typing immediately. But what I want to know is, does the hidden field contain the correct ID? And yes, it does. Okay, so why doesn't it find number 1? Could not find comment. Returns at 0. Break. Why? Maybe this is wrong. Let's see. Commented comments ID and comment ID. What is going on? Okay, let me see an alert of comment ID first of all, just so we see what it's doing. So I'll refresh the page, click there. It's 2, right? I think that's correct. 3, that is correct. But why is 2 not found? Huh. Okay, so here I'll do a console.log of the comment.comments object. I just want to see what it has. So back, inspect, console.log, refresh. So let me click on that and it gave me this array. So 0, 1, 2. Oh, wait. There's ID 2 here. So why isn't it working? You know, I think I know what's going on here. This starts at 0. As it should start at 0. So row ID is 1. What am I doing wrong here? Oh, actually 0 doesn't mean it's not there. Oh, okay. So it's my bad. My bad. 0 still means things are okay, actually. So this was wrong. You know what? I should just put let found is equal to false. Then when we get here, we say found is equal to true, meaning we did find some. So if not found like that, okay, that makes more sense. So let me close that and let's refresh. So now it's gonna work. Very good. And that's gonna work. So as you can see, it replaces with the right thing. Now let's try and edit this one and see. Let me just put a 2 at the end and let's just, and as you can see, it has updated. Simple as that. So let's edit that and add some more text. Let's see if we're gonna have more text there. And there it is. Let's try this one. Also comment, and there it is. So we are now able to edit our comments and add comments as well as delete comments. So this has been fun. I hope you learned something new. We will add profile images immediately once we start dealing with the admin section, because that's what's remaining. At least we've added likes, we've added comments, and now an admin section. Then finally we're going to send this to an actual live server and see how well it fares on a live server. Alright, hopefully you have learned something new, guys. and we'll see you in another tutorial. Let me just test a comment here. Yeah, actually one thing I forgot is, okay, so comments are working just fine. I need to log out before I finish the tutorial and try this while I'm logged out. So let me click on that. Okay, so looky there, it actually allows me to comment, which it shouldn't. So what happens when I try that? Look at this comment, and let's do comment. Okay, so it doesn't actually work, which is good. Or doesn't it? If I go to my comments here, so there's look at this comment and it's not there. Okay, that's good, which means things are protected. Now this part should only show if I'm logged in. So let's go back here to the form itself. So the form right here should only be on if I am logged in. So do we have session in here? Let's try that. Sesh is logged in. Like that. And let's put an end if right here. Like so. Good. So if I now refresh, doesn't matter if I'm resending the data. Okay, so we can't comment on that now because we are not logged in. That's very good. Now if I do indeed log in, let me try as Mary. Password. Yep, let's go to something with comments, and now we can add more comments. I can add a comment. Yay! There it is. Oh, I didn't put the word add, so let's edit that. There we go. Awesomeness. Yes, yes. So things are working as intended. Very cool. Very cool. Alright guys, like I said, hopefully you've learned something new. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you in another tutorial.